Hi there. In this video, we're going to show you how to set up your Google My Business for your church or ministry. Okay, so the Google My Business is essentially a listing that goes on Google Maps. This is very important for your search rankings for your church on Google. And I'm going to show you in this video how to set it up first off. And I also want to talk a little bit more in detail as to why you really need this and why it's important to spend a little bit of time making sure that this is done correctly. Okay, so I already basically explained what it is. It registers your business on maps, but more so than that, it gives your church an opportunity to show up on Google search rankings. So whenever somebody searches let's say you are in Birmingham, Alabama, and you're a new church, you need to be on Google. So the way that you get into those maps, so if anyone's ever going to try to GPS your location, whenever they search, let's say, non-denominational church in Birmingham, Alabama, the only way that you're going to show up in that map is if you set up the Google My Business page. So there are a lot of things that go into ranking that page or ranking that listing, and I'm going to get into that a little bit in this, but really all you need to know, I don't want to get this too complex. The only thing you really need to know is that one, you need to set up your Google My Business page, and two, you need to spend a little bit of time ranking it. And I'm going to go into detail with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go through these steps here on how to set it up. I'm going to attach this in a comment so that you'll be able to read through and follow along. I would say the easiest way is pull this video up, watch it either on your phone or on another device, or you can just watch it in another window and just tab back and forth so that you can follow along. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. So Google search, we're going to Google My Business. So I'm going to type in Google My Business. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and click on this first one here. It's basically just google.com/business. You can also just type that in directly. I'm going to go to sign in. Okay, so this is automatically going to put me inside of my personal, this is me, Daniel. It's going to put me inside of my personal Google My Business page. I am linked to a few different of our clients, so you definitely don't want to set this up on your personal page. So if you have not already done so, please go and set up a different email address for your ministry. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example here of a church that I'm going to be setting up their citations, and I'm going to talk to you in a little bit about what citations are, but I need to still set up their Google My Business page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, I'm going to click on the icon here, I'm going to pull that drop down, and I've got a ton of different email addresses that I can sign into. This is the one that I want, Reclaim Church Orlando. I'm going to go ahead and click that in. Okay, so it's automatically going to bring me into, I'm already signed in, by the way. So it's automatically going to bring me to this page to set up Google My Business. So the name of this church is Reclaimed Church. Create a business with this name. So you're going to type in your church, obviously. And we're going to hit next. Okay, so this is something that's very important, the address. If you do not currently have, I think I have a thing here. Okay, so if you don't currently have a church address, let's say you're a church plant, let's say that you are just getting going, you might be meeting in a middle school, you might be meeting in homes, you might not have an actual church address yet. I'm not going to go into detail as to how you need to do this because it's something that takes a little bit longer of an explanation, but just do not use your home address. Don't use your home address, and don't use, unless you have permission, you're probably not going to want to use the middle school or elementary school, or wherever you're meeting. You need to make sure that you get permission from the principal or from the administration of wherever you're at. We've worked with churches that have gotten that permission. That's great. You can use the actual school address for it. But anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail. We do have a workaround, and it involves using a PO box and using UPS. So just make sure you just ask us in the group how to do this, because it is a little bit more complicated. Do not do just a PO box. Okay, I'll just say that, and then you guys can ask from there. Okay, so the address that we're going to use here, I've already got, which is in my Evernote, and I'm going to type in, here we go. So let's see here. The address is going to be this right here, 83 Geneva Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and Command X, copies it to my clipboard. The city is going to be, let me make sure how to say that, Oviedo. And state is Florida. And zip code is right here. So what we're doing here is we're telling Google where the address of our church is. Okay, I deliver goods and services to my customers. This is kind of a tricky one. So in this case, for this church, this is actually a missional community church. So they don't actually meet at a specific location. So we're doing a PO box here. And again, I will tell you how to do that in a different video. But we're having to do a very special thing here. If you have an address, an actual tangible address that you meet at, which could be that middle school, it could be, if you have proof it, or if you have the authentication from your principal, administration, whatever. If you're meeting at an actual location, you'd need to click this. What this is going to do is this is going to show the address on Google. So this, people need to be able to find your address. If you're just simply trying to get verified with Google, which is another reason why we're doing this, but you don't want people to see your address, you need to make sure you click hide my address. And in this case, we are wanting to hide this address because this is not an actual physical church that people are going to go to. Okay, and I can explain that in more detail. Just again, ask questions, comments in this video below, and we'll be sure to answer those. This really isn't too complicated, but I don't want this video to turn into a 30-minute long video. So anyway, let's go ahead and hit next. Add this areas you serve, distance around your business location, specific areas. You can really do whatever you want here. If you're in a city that you want to only target, let's say, so we're in Kansas City here. Let's say that we only wanted to target people on the Missouri side, because if you don't know, Kansas City downtown is actually in Missouri. It's on Kansas, kind of screwy. But let's say we only wanted to target the Missouri side. Well, we may want to only type in certain zip codes here. But in this case, that's not an issue. So we're just going to target people within 15 miles of the business. That's a pretty good idea. If you're kind of in a small town and people drive 20, 30 miles to get to your church, then just keep that in mind. You'll need to put that at 20 or 30. Okay, let's hit next. Choose a category that fits your business best. This should be church. You can also add more later. We're going to actually want to add more later because we're going to want to do, ministry, that kind of thing. So we're just going to do church right now. Let's see if we can actually do Christian church. We're going to do that. Okay, hit next. What contact details do you want to show to customers? Okay, so I need a phone number, which for this church, we're going to go to their website to grab that. I don't know it off the top of my head. You should probably know the number off of the top of your head. We'll let this load. Let's scroll down here. Here's the number we're going to want to use. I'm going to copy that. And we're going to paste that in. We'll put dashes instead. Current website URL. This is the website right here. I'm going to copy and paste this, which I'm going to put in a real quick thing here. Guys, if you don't have a good website, you need a good website. We actually went ahead and built this out for this church. They were great to work with. We really love Andy and his team. But anyway, I will just say, you really need a good website. If you don't have a good website, you can talk to us. We'll if you can't afford to get a new website, we'll at least try to direct you to the right places to do that. We really want you to get this thing to work, and we'll certainly help you do that. But just having a website, guys, just don't try to. If you're already a web designer, if you already know what you're doing, great. But most of the time, in our experience, we've seen a lot of pastors either try to do it themselves, or we've seen pastors hire their son or their niece, nephew, whatever, to build a website, and it's often just, it's not good. And it sometimes, most of the time, it actually causes more harm than good. So I would just really encourage you, this is a place where you don't want to skimp. This is your digital presence. This is, when people come into your church, they're going to have a certain impression. When people experience you online, this is the exact same thing as that. So just make sure that you have a website that represents you well and that it looks really good. Okay, so anyway, that was a real quick thing. Okay, so back to here, we're filling out the information. So we got the phone number, we have the website, and that's really good. You don't need to worry. If you don't have a website yet, you can do this. Personally, I probably wouldn't fill out your Google My Business until you have your website, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can add this later. It's just sometimes it can often hurt your rankings a little bit. Maybe that's always changing. Okay, so let's hit next. Don't hit this get a free website. You're not going to get set up with anything there. Okay, so this is the most important part. Finish and verify this business. To manage your listing, you'll need to verify your connection with this business. So what Google's going to do is they're going to send out a verification code to the mailbox or to the address that you put on as you were filling this out. So you have to be able to receive mail at this location. So that's why we had to set up this P.O. box for this church, because they don't meet in a physical location. And so we're going to get them verified through the post office, and it gives us an opportunity to get them verified without having to be an actual physical church, which, believe me, that's actually very difficult to do, and is something that we do a lot of research to really figure out. But it is possible to do that. So if you don't have a physical location yet, you'll need to do this. And again, just contact us. We'll walk you through how to do that exactly. For you guys who already have tangible locations, this shouldn't be a problem at all. Google's going to send out this mail. You should receive it within 7 to 10 business days. And whenever you get that, here, I'll just go ahead and go to the next step. Whenever you get that, you will have a place where you're going to enter that code in. Okay, it's going to be a 5-digit code, and you're going to need to verify it. Okay, so we're going to do one last step here. So choose a way to verify. I'm going to type in Andy Miller, that is the pastor's name. Reclaim Church, here's the address, and we're going to hit mail. Well, sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes if you guys already have connections with Google, you can get verified instantly, which that's very rare, but if you do get it, congratulations, you just beat the hardest step in this whole thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's click mail, and we should get a confirmation screen. Postcard is coming. So you'll get a postcard with your verification code and next steps in about 5 days. On that verification code is going to be it's going to be directions on there. So they're going to have a URL for you to go to where you can go and verify that. Or if you can't figure that out, you're going to actually have your Google My Business page here that you can log back into. So we can just hit get started. It's pending verification. So there's going to be a place on here where you're going to be able to go in and type in that verification code. Okay, so sometimes we can hit learn more. This will probably just have you can read more information on it. But what we are going to want to do is, I think it'll be under info. Pending verification. Okay, so it looks like it doesn't even pop up yet until after it's been sent out. So once it's sent out, there will actually be a place to enter the verification code. But okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about here. So we've set it up, we've registered Google My Business. Now we're just waiting on the verification. The thing that I want to talk about next is something called citations. What are they? It's when your name, your church name, your address, and your phone number is listed in online directories across the internet. Now, why is that important? Well, when I type in, let's say, I'm going to type in non-denominational church in Olathe, Kansas. We have a client there. Okay, so this is going to instantly bring up a map. This is also called the map list. Okay, so whenever you're registered with Google My Business, these churches are all registered with Google My Business. And why is Heartland Community Church ranked #1 on here? Why is Olathe Christian Church ranked number 2? It's because of the citations mixed with their reviews. And there's also recently been an addition to where backlinks are also important. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but that's also something we can talk about later if you're interested. That's also considered something called SEO, search engine optimization. But that's kind of goes beyond the scope of this video. The thing that I want to talk about is going back to here, we have your reviews right here, and we have your citations. These two are extremely important in improving the rankings of your map listing. Okay, so whenever you get verified, so you're going to get verified, you're going to get that verification code, you're going to type it in. Now you can start submitting for citations. That's going to be a video for another time. We'll cover that sometime in the near future. But you're going to want to submit for citations. If you're ready to go on that right now, again, contact us. We'll get you set up. That's your name, address, and phone number being listed in directories across the internet. And it's very important. Right when you get this thing listed, try to start getting your family, your friends, everyone who goes to your church, get them to start submitting for reviews. And we might have another video on how to do that, but you can just basically send them a link and they'll be able to go and submit those reviews. And that will also help your ranking go up here. Okay, so that should relatively do what we need. This is actually my client right here, Charis Kingdom Church. We are, they're a great church, great client. We love them. But anyway, so as you can see, they've got 40 reviews on here. And just as a quick thing, these churches, Heartland Community Church, some of these churches are like 10 times the size of our client, because our client is a church plant. But the fact that we're already ranking number, like 6, these are ads, these don't count. We're already ranking like number 6 on here in a city that has 100 and whatever thousand people. And I mean, these churches are much, much, much bigger. So this stuff really does work. The reviews work, the citations work. If that's something you're ready to go on right now, go ahead and contact us. Other than that, we're going to have probably another couple of videos coming out on how you can set those up by yourself. We certainly are not trying to sell you guys anything. We want to see you succeed. So if you have any questions, comment on this video and we'll get them answered. Hope this was informative, and we love you guys. Take care.